It's crazy how you bump into somebody and they become your person. Now, everybody isn't going to understand why this is your person, but you have to understand that it's not for y'all. Look who it is on the Steve Harvey show. Ooh. Y'all know each other like that? Mr. Snoop Dogg, did you hear what's going on right now? This is East Coast, West Coast, Freako. House being raided. Look at that. Steve tried to warn you.
Steve Harvey is so unbelievably finished after the feds have reportedly found a connection to Diddy. We knew Steve was quite a suspicious character, but the fact that there is now a federal investigation into him is quite something.
Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers.
But how did it come to this? Well, we know Diddy had some very close connections to the Steve Harvey family.
TMZ Family Therapy presents Diddy Issues, starring Daddy Diddy, Diddy's son, and Daddy Diddy's lady.
Didn't Diddy's son date her?
Yes! That cannot be true.
Sounds like someone's got Diddy issues. And by someone, we mean him, because they actually look pretty happy.
Diddy and Lori Harvey, they're heating things up in Italy.
Notice her arm is on the back of his chair.
Shocking! For some reason. But yes, Diddy's now getting super cozy with Steve Harvey's daughter, who Diddy's son, Justin Combs, used to hang out with.
I don't think that her and Justin were even that serious. They were just out in the club a couple times.
I think it's more interesting that Steve Harvey's there.
Survey says the number one most interesting thing about this photo is
Diddy and his son are Eskimo brothers.
And to make it more interesting,
So his son on this trip?
They were there. They're not in these pictures, but I think they left.
He is dating his son's ex-girlfriend when his son was there as well. But if his son's moved on, why not?
Puff has an unbelievably close relationship with all of his sons. I don't think it's something that he would do if it was a big, huge deal.
You like who you like.
The exception to I like who I like is accept my son's exes.
so congrats, you two look really happy.
While teaching his sons to respect women, Steve Harvey takes a hands-on approach when it comes to his daughter's dating lives. If a suitor doesn't meet his standards, there's no beating around the bush. He makes sure they're shown the door. In an interview with US Magazine on March 24th, the Family Feud host opened up about his strict approval process for his daughter's dates. "If I spot a bad one, I get rid of them," he said. "I make no bones about it. So they're very careful when they bring them." Steve Harvey, who has 2 biological daughters, Carly and Brandy, and 2 adopted daughters, Morgan and Lori, holds all of them to the same standard when it comes to choosing partners. According to Harvey, the first version of a person you meet isn't always the real one. You can think a person is wonderful, but everybody's wonderful in the beginning. Everybody, you always meet the mask. The 67-year-old explained, "The mask can last for about 90 days, and then, after a while, the mask starts unraveling, and I just try to wait on that period. Sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't." Beyond the mask, Harvey also trusts his gut when it comes to the men his daughters bring home. But with all that vetting, it does make you wonder, how did Diddy get through? Many have speculated it is because Diddy has a lot of incriminating stuff on Steve Harvey.
Why hasn't anybody came out defending Diddy? All these celebrity friends he have and nobody came out.
They brand. It's all about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching, They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey buddy, we got you on this tape, and girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, you know, Sean Combs. That's when they're gonna start talking. And they're not gonna be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes all over, 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician. Yeah, I was at a Diddy party, but I know I ain't do nothing. When you don't know somebody's taping you, when you don't know that somebody is videoing you in some kind of form or fashion, you got that alcohol, you got the in you, they're a little loose, bruh. They let down all their inhibitions. The music is pumping. He said it himself. He got it so hot in there that you gotta take your clothes off. He said that himself, bro. So a lot of them, like what was what he said? I think a lot of them was being swallowed. Have you ever been swallowed? They tell off on themselves all the time, man. You just gotta listen.
But why do you think Diddy had all them hidden cameras?
Bro, when you that powerful, you didn't get that powerful without having 1 or 2 or maybe 3 ups on somebody. Diddy always been the type of individual that want to have ups on the next person no matter what they was doing. Like, he always played artists against each other. He did it to Big, he did it to Craig Mack. You understand? I said before, he did the stuff to Ja Rule, you know what I'm saying? So had the ups on Ja Rule so he could go after Jay-Z. You understand what I'm saying?
If Diddy was dating Lori, it is entirely plausible the Harvey family was invited to his parties. And if that's the case, he would have had Steve on tape doing some pretty messed up stuff. And it's not just Steve Harvey who's been caught on tape. There's a whole host of big names who are expected to be charged soon.
I'm gonna tell you who I believe is on the tapes. I believe Barack Obama got a tape.
Yeah, he playing hide the hot dog.
I know Jennifer Lopez has multiple tapes.
Oh yeah. Oof.
I know Beyonce got a tape. I definitely know they probably recycled some old Stevie J and Eve stuff. I know Drake got a tape. I know Rihanna got a tape. I know Chris Brown's on one of them tapes. I know Trey Songz has been like a supporting actor in many freak-off films. Definitely Usher. I think what would shock people are the politicians. And the royals that were on that tape. And I'm still trying to figure out when Harry and Meghan are gonna be honest about their freak-off tape. I don't think anybody really wants to talk about the fact that the royal family has many times at Diddy party, especially that weirdo uncle.
The ongoing investigation into Diddy's alleged misconduct has revealed serious accusations, including claims of abuse, coercion, and threats against women and others to meet his sexual demands. One of the most disturbing aspects of the investigation involves what have been referred to as freak-off parties, where abusive acts were reportedly carried out, recorded, and later used as blackmail against the victims. In a recent development, TMZ reported that a male prostitute has come forward, claiming to have a recorded encounter with Diddy. This individual met with federal authorities on Wednesday to provide information regarding the situation. He has reportedly signed a proffer agreement, allowing him to share information without facing prosecution. As part of this, footage from the encounter has been turned over to federal prosecutors, and the male prostitute also provided additional details about the so-called freak-off parties. According to TMZ, the man claims he became involved in one of these freak-offs through an escort, and the alleged encounter included Diddy, the man, and a woman. This took place in May 2023, where Diddy allegedly recorded the encounter. The man reportedly had a copy of the recording, which he has now handed over to federal authorities. The sources also revealed that this individual shared information about the use of drugs during these parties.
The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs.
This revelation, particularly involving the alleged footage, has led to widespread reactions and discussions in Hollywood. Many believe this could signal the beginning of a major scandal in the entertainment industry, with speculation growing about who else might have been aware of or involved in the events tied to Diddy since his arrest earlier this month. So could Diddy sing like a canary here? Could he expose everyone who worked with him?
There are a lot of people in Hollywood who are probably worried about which Diddy parties they were at and what was going on. That's not to say that they were necessarily even involved in any of the things that are alleged by the U.S. Attorney's Office. But if you're at that party and it turns out that that's when he set up one of these freak-off sex parties, or that it was going on in another room and you didn't know about it, there's a good chance that you're going to be called by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And certainly if you were involved, you would get a call because they're going to want to know everything you want to know and may even want you to be a witness. I just think, we're just starting to scratch the surface of what this case, this case is going to touch and involve. And the feds have said that this remains an open investigation. There could be more charges for Diddy. There could be more charges for other people involved. And usually the way this works is once they find out other people are involved or were witnesses, they bring them in and they sort of lean on them, and it's sort of like, you're going to cooperate with us, or there's a possibility that you could face charges. So this is going to be a a slow developing a case here because we're just getting started, and I don't see how this trial begins anytime before next year. These parties had a lot of individuals. In fact, the U.S. Attorney's Office says that the parties would sometimes go on for days. So there are a lot of individuals involved, and yet, and they say this has been going on for more than 10 years, and yet we didn't hear about that. So that means that all the people that were involved, according to the feds, were that he managed to keep them all quiet, that nobody would speak about it, and that does sort of speak to the kind of power he wielded and the fear that people had of him. We're also talking about the fact that the beating of Cassie, which was captured on the hotel surveillance video, that was, what, 6 years ago. And
alleged when Combs
nobody knew about it. Nobody heard about it. Think about all the people that were at the hotel who may have known about it, people who saw the surveillance video and never spoke about it. And like you said, we're in an era where when things like that happen, people speak out about it. So the fact that no one did, and that it only took this, really Cassie's lawsuit before any of this started coming out, it does kind of speak to the power that he wielded and that the fact that nobody wanted to cross him.
In fact, the situation for Diddy is so bad right now that Jaguar Wright revealed he's had to sell freak-off tapes to finance his legal fees.
Diddy's not going to jail.
Wanna know why? Because he doesn't intend to stand trial. Why would he sell his tapes on the dark net?
Is he protecting people, or are people protecting him?
Oh no, he's selling it because he needs the cash. The last freak off tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Drake. It was a really interesting night in Calabasas, and he just sold that footage.
How come you think it doesn't get leaked to the public?
The dark net?
Yeah, like...
Because of the dark coin. Most people don't even know that the dark coin exists. But that's how they're trading for all of the flesh they sell. Which is why I became so outraged last year when the twins turned 16 and he had them dressed like prostitutes and then he auctioned them off as NFTs because the NFT that he sold them to was attached to that dark coin. It was like a promissory note to sell his daughters to the highest bidder.
And you know what the worst part is? Gene Deal called this months ago, and nobody believed him.
Jay's speaking on it right now. He'll be one of the first dudes that they'll probably pull to the side and say, yo, well, you say that your man, I heard you on TMZ say that he never did this and he never did that, but ain't this you? If those pictures or those films or anything like that exist. You know what I'm saying? That's what they pay those agents to do. So, of course, I don't believe that none of the people who are his celebrity friends is going to speak or say nothing until they're either contacted or they know what they really got.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think that the celebrities that may be worried is because what Lil Rob said. Lil Rob said in his affidavit that Diddy had every room taped and bugged. Diddy had, yo, bro, can you imagine he had every room taped and bugged, and they found little bugs and little tape recorders, little those micro projectors or whatever like that, or video cameras. They found them in the house, bro. So by them having those things in the house, And people know there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, woman on woman, man on man, all kind of crazy. Bruh, they just wondering who or when they're gonna let this stuff be known. If it's on videotape.
Yeah, man, I know they gotta be shook, man, after finding out he was recording everything.
But not only celebrities, I don't think it's only celebrities gonna be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there. Hallelujah. That's crazy.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
Well, my personal opinion that if Lil Rob could be trusted and his statements are true, they got him. They got tapes and stuff.
Gene Deal also revealed that there were people who taught him this, and it seems like they could be under the microscope as well.
His mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. You know, it's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't, he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do without, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You gotta have principles, you gotta have morals, you gotta keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. You gotta know better. And if you know better, you will do better. When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going, when he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he using drugs. He was never like that. You gotta realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's gonna make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons, and he had a house, and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not gonna say alleged, because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self. You understand what I'm saying? So these are behaviors and things that with and all the stuff that's going on, pills, drinking, it can make this man into a monster, and that's what it did, bro. It made him into a monster, bro.
Who do you think Diddy is going to snitch on next? Let us know in the comments.